Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Avani Ratan and I'm here today to help you with the second unit of social psychology. It is a quick revision for IHBAS M.Phil entrance examination. Let's start with what is social cognition. So what is social cognition? Social cognition refers to the way we encode, the way we process, store, and use information in social contexts. So, in very simple terms, it's how we make sense of other people's behavior and our own behavior in social situations. So, for an example, when meeting someone new, we quickly form an impression of them. Either we could find them friendly, maybe rude, maybe shy. So, based on small cues such as a smile, maybe the tone of voice, or a handshake, the mental shortcut is the part of the social cognition over here. Now, let us talk about what are schemas. So, schemas are like the mental blueprints or the frameworks that help us organize and interpret the social information. It helps us organize and interpret social information. So, always remember that schemas are mental frameworks or they are like the mental blueprints which help us classify information. So now there are multiple definitions of schema given by multiple researchers. So first is that schemas are like cognitive scaffolds. These are the structures that help us store information or that help us sort this information that we have acquired from our environment. Then schemas are knowledge structures about a specific domain. So it could be about weddings, it could be about teachers, it could be about politicians. And schemas are interconnected networks of social information. So this is also how we could define schemas. The type of schemas that we use in social schemas are the first one is where we talk about the physical appearance, right? Such as a person is tall, maybe well dressed, maybe messy hair. Then, when we talk about the personality traits, maybe the person is kind, maybe they are arrogant, maybe they are introverted. And then we also talk about the behavioral patterns, how someone usually acts. So, when you see a doctor in a white coat, your schema tells you that they are knowledgeable, they are trustworthy, and they are professional even before they speak to you. So that's how the schemas get activated. Talking about the type of schemas, the very first one is the role schema, where these give us the frameworks about specific groups and roles in the society. These are similar to stereotypes. They tell us that how members of a group are expected to behave. So, for an example, teacher, you will automatically feel as if they are patient, they are knowledgeable, they are disciplined. When we talk about a police officer, we would automatically assume they are strict, they are authoritative, and they are protective, right? The second type of schema is the person schema, where there are mental models about specific individuals. These include their appearance, personality, and typical behavior. So you might have a schema for your best friend that she's talkative, she's funny, she's always late. So those are the person schema that you have attached to your best friend. The third is the event schema, which is about our scripts. So these are mental structures about how events usually unfold. So they help us know what to expect in different situations. So, for an example, at a wedding, we expect the rituals, we expect guests, we expect food, we expect dancing, right? At a job interview, we would expect introductions, questions, and formal behavior. So, if the event doesn't follow the script, we feel surprised or we feel maybe uncomfortable. Now, there are also another kind of schemas, which is the self-schema. The self-schema is about your self-concept. So these are the frameworks we hold about ourselves. These are similar to the concept of self-concept. These include the beliefs about strengths, about weaknesses, about personality and identity, right? So here that a person may think that I'm very generous, which is a self-concept, but in reality, they rarely share. So which is their real self. Or they may even deny that I'm not selfish. So even though others often see them that way. So a healthy personality is usually an overlap between the real self and the self-concept. Moving on to the effects of schemas on cognitive processes. So schemas, they often act like filters. They influence how we pay attention, how we perceive, and how we remember things. So when we talk about attention, we notice the information that fits our schemas more than the things that don't, right? So you would often notice information that fits the schemas and you would not notice the information that don't fit your schemas. So a cricket fan at a match, he would pay more attention to the players' strategies than to the crowd's clothes, right? So that's how we attend to the schemas. The second is perception. We interpret information based on schemas. We interpret information based on our schemas. Sometimes we even distort or we misinterpret the information if it doesn't match our schema. So, if you believe teenagers are lazy, you may interpret a tired teen resting as lazy rather than sleep deprived. Right? That's how we have, fit that information into our existing schema. The third is the memory. So we remember the schema that is consistent, right? So those schemas that are consistent information are remembered better. The schemas which are inconsistent to our information, they may be forgotten or they are altered. So you recall the details that confirm your belief about a friend, that maybe your friend is kind, maybe they are funny, but you may forget the times that they have acted differently. So Bartlett's research, he showed people often changed the unfamiliar stories to fit their cultural schemas. So you have to remember three memory distortions which were given by Bartlett. So there are three memory distortions which are given by Bartlett, because this is important from your entrance exams point of view. The first is leveling. What is that? That the unimportant or the less important details are dropped and the story becomes simpler, right? So here, less important information is dropped and the story becomes simpler. The second is sharpening, which is the unusual details are exaggerated. So here, the second kind of distortion is where the unusual details are exaggerated. This is the second distortion. The third one is the assimilation, where new information is changed to fit existing beliefs. There will be a question on assimilation and even on accommodation in the entrance exams because it's an important concept. So here, new information is changed to fit the existing beliefs. All right. So how can we summarize the social cognition unit? A, we use schemas to interpret our social life. B, schemas have mental energy but can cause bias, it can cause stereotyping, and it can also cause memory errors. And C, they shape how we pay attention, how we perceive others, and how we recall events. So that was about the social cognition unit. I wish you happy learning. Thank you.